Well, thank you very much for inviting Sareb to share its experience with this very distinguished audience. Having heard about the very relevant achievements that Greece has secured in recent years, and that has been mentioned during today's event, I wonder if it should not be the other way around. And we at the panel, or at least in my case, should learn from your experience. No? So congratulations. No? Well, in a severe banking crisis, the question of what to do with large pools of non-performing assets is often raised. Governments have explored different options, and a relatively successful one has been the transfer of these assets to an asset management company, with the goal of selling them during an extended time. The advantage is that the impaired assets can be immediately removed from the balance sheet of the banks and assigned to a specialist manager, which can focus on economies and take advantage of economies of scale. In parallel, the transferring banks can fully focus on managing their core business, providing its customers with new funding. That was the path chosen in Spain back in 2012. The objective of Sareb was the immediate exit of real estate development-related assets from the balance sheets of the successors of 22 former savings banks. Sareb was assigned with the task of the orderly liquidation of these assets over a maximum period of 15 years. The initiative became fundamental for restoring the credibility and financing capacity of the Spanish financial system and further of the whole economy, setting the basis for a solid and sustainable economic recovery. Which assets were transferred? In our case, included both financial assets and real estate, so foreclosed real estate assets. But only real estate developer assets were transferred. Non-performing portfolios of SMEs without collateral, consumer loans, and retail mortgages were excluded, as it was felt that banks would manage these type of loans better themselves, as they required proximity to customers. In our case, the type of assets transferred to Sareb ruled out to a great extent the need to implement restructuring measures. We have negotiated debt restructuring in some cases, but for the most part, the liquidation of the company was the sole choice, and once we got hold of the collateral, the next step was to put it on sale. How was Sareb financed? Equity amounted to close to 5 billion euros. These resources were provided by private investors in a 55% and the remaining 45% by the Spanish Resolution Authority. In addition to this source of funding, Sareb issued senior bonds guaranteed by the state and eligible for being discounted at the ECB. These bonds were delivered in exchange for the assets transferred. The total nominal value of 107 billion assets, equivalent to 11% of Spanish GDP at the time, were transferred to Sareb with a haircut of 53%. So the value, once they entered into the books of our company, was around 51 billion euro. What are the implications of setting a transfer price that is too high or too low? Determining the correct price of a large real estate portfolio based on a 15-year-long business plan is clearly not only the result of a scientific exercise, but one that requires some element of supernatural prophetic skills. To worsen the challenge, usually these transfers must be closed in a short time frame with lack of good information and reliable data, and under a particularly uncertain macroeconomic environment. Under these shaky circumstances, it is difficult to achieve a correct valuation. Obviously, a lower haircut means less losses for the transferring banks and more potential losses for the asset management company. The opposite is true. 10 years later, in the case of Sareb, it is clear that the haircut applied to the assets transferred was too low. Looking at the experience of other banking crises, my recommendation is that to the extent possible, it is better to be more aggressive in setting the haircut. You can always design mechanisms that can retrieve extraordinary profits and channel them back to the transferors. How was Sareb managed? We used servicers to get hold of the maintenance and the orderly liquidation of the assets. Given the large amount of assets that are still on Sareb's balance sheet, we are also looking for all possible ways to divest them, and this includes several real estate developments in case where the expected value generation clearly outweighs the risk involved in such an initiative. What problems have we encountered recently? When loans are executed with real estate assets as collateral, such as flats, when these assets are received, it happens that in many cases these flats are leased out to retail tenants. To maximize sale price, we need to make them vacant first. But this is not always very easy. Due to the tight rental market in many locations in Spain, this makes it difficult for the tenants to find alternative housing. In addition, the medium to low profile of flats assigned to Sareb means that in a high percentage of cases, families meet vulnerability criteria. In these cases, Sareb has renounced to evict the affected families and contributes the flats to a social housing project which is currently being managed by Sareb. To conclude, let me elaborate whether the success or failure of an asset management company should be assessed only in the light of its financial performance. Although it is clear that Sareb's business plan has not been fully fulfilled, the assessment of its creation must be framed within the roadmap for bank restructuring and the Spanish economic recovery, of which it was part. It is clear that Sareb contributed to restoring confidence in the Spanish financial system, laying the foundations for economic recovery and enabling a very significant reduction of Spain's risk premium. Probably we can extend this idea to other asset management companies in the sense that the lack of direct profitability must be balanced against other indirect benefits of these tools. Thank you very much.